Hey guys, and welcome back to the briefing room. So I mentioned in my update video that I'm going to be doing this. It's a commentary. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be watching ROBOTECH. You can watch, and I would suggest you watch too. I mean, that's kind of the point of commentary. It is on Funimation. Or more than likely, if you're watching this, you probably have 2 or 3 ROBOTECH sets, because they just kept releasing DVD sets, and they just released a Blu-ray set. If you're watching on Funimation, I'll be about 8 seconds in. It's just after the Funimation intro. So, let's get to it. This is a great intro. What a way to start, your show with a good intro. I know some people have complained about Rick's character model. It's not really bothered me at all. At least when he's putting down the little glasses thing. But man, the audio from this, the video, I personally like the everything combined, the 3 shows combined, but I love the new fonts they gave things in their remastered, versions, so it's kind of a give and take. I like, I wish they could have done that, updated logo with, the old style, but it is what it is. Man, just getting hyped, just the ability to get hyped for something. What a great way to start it. Wow. And now we're getting into the story. The first of many intro dumps. I like that at least for this. I can understand the narrator. Just get straight to the story. We don't need, too much about the origin. I know a lot of people want to, want them to redo it and do it with Zor, launching the SDF-1 or whatever. I apologize. That's, I enjoy that part of the story too, but we can leave that in the books and the comics, We don't need it for the show. Also, they want to remake the show exactly how it is. If I want them to remake the show from a different point of view, I want to know, the story of, Vince and Rolf in the first Robotech War. Clearly they got close enough to each other that, they made him, I know they technically left the Threes and Trotty spies, but there was still enough there that they were trustworthy enough. They thought Rolf was trustworthy enough. Well, I guess the Sterlings left it with the 3 spies, but it wasn't Bowie. But yeah, there's enough there, is what I'm saying. I also love, the time-lapse of each year. And, some years, 2008, nothing changed in 2008. There it is, the SDF-1. And then there's one of the carriers. I can't... that would be Prometheus, because Daedalus has the opening flap. And there's the mayor. Some big shots. Oh, that's Senator. Never mind, not mayor. The mayor was the one talking. Maybe I should... I wish I could get my mustache that thick, and then I could shave it into the little 2 dots. I want to see more of that blue and black plane right there, you know? They're all white or tan. It's upsetting. I guess they have blue and red, but we only see 2 people using the blue and red schemes. Ooh, scandalous. Party hard. Of course. Yeah, they're professionals. Roy and Claudia are professionals, you know, they... So, I love how they wrote this, where, you know, they're still new. They haven't really had any missions, let alone missions together. So there's that turmoil, you know, and then later they're just, you know, a well-oiled machine. And then there's Rick. Rick is worst character. Just kind of a... But I do love his jokes coming up with Roy. The "nobody's perfect, Commander." Like, that's great. Also, I want to see more of these very patriotic Veritechs. I want to see more of them. And then you can see Min May in the crowd here in a minute. That's pretty cool. So, the thing to remember, and I'll bring this up multiple times, they had like 3 months, I think, to make the entire show, all 85 episodes. Like, say, they were writing scripts as they were recording them, and you know, it's definitely far from perfect, but I love the quirks that come with that production. Even if I don't, you know, don't agree with some of the methods that they used. And then here's Rick showing off. I always wanted to fly that plane in particular, Rick's little racer. I was like, why don't they ever include this in games? And then the Game Boy game came out, and I was like, oh, that's why. It's junk. Absolute junk. Of course, as a kid, I also thought those little red tabs coming off of it were missiles. But that would be bad if you just launched missiles straight into the crowd. Could you imagine? A young Tony Oliver. So, I'm not sure what to think of the whole Rick and Roy brothers thing. I know they wrote it as, you know, in the comics it's Rick's dad adopted Roy or something like that. I think that's a interesting take. I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's, does get in your blood, that's true. You know, they never quite explain Robotech exactly, because that cola machine is Robotech. But then they're like, no, Robotech transforms, so it's like, so do these soda machines transform? Do they become robots that launch soda missiles at the enemies? It's a good question. Butt scene. By the way, that was a 15-year-old butt we just got a full camera view on. So, take that with you. Ah, yes, the giant pickle ships. That's what I always thought as a kid, is that they looked like big pickles. Pickles. Yummy, yummy. And then, it's interesting, Exodor is like in charge of the history of the Zentradi, but it's also like a strategic advisor. But, like, it doesn't seem like he's super respected among anyone besides Britai, which I think is interesting. Especially since their whole society is built on war, so why would they need a historian? How would they... What? Who would do all the documenting, too? Like, I guess they would have to file mission reports, but... It's just, for me, that's kind of interesting. So, a flash of light. So does that mean, like, anybody that was looking up at the sky at the time was, you know, is that a... Did they see that? That's another question. Just more questions. The, That is great visual of the main guns firing. I always loved that little visual. It's not quite electricity, but it kind of is, like an arc. And then just domination. And then it just curves up, like it's a controlled Kamehameha or something. Also, did the other ship just... Was it just so close that the plating melted? Because it didn't get hit, but it... You know, those are the questions that need to be asked. I once was making a video about the Zentradi and the Masters, you know, because the Robotech Masters used the Zentradi as their strong arms. But humanity, even winning the war, humanity still could not do anything against the Robotech Masters ships. So I was making the argument that, you know, when you have an alien race dedicated to war, you have to have your precautions, and so they made their technology superior to the Zentradi technology. And so that could explain the whole armor thing. You know, the armor being so weak. But, because, you know, for all their losses, the humans' technology was effective against the Zentradi. It wasn't necessarily the Zentradi that kept their, you know, that kept their hands tied. It was other, other sources, such as the Earth's government, preventing them from doing too much and, keeping their citizens on the ship. They had to do the Daedalus attack because with the pinpoint barrier system, they couldn't fire the guns because it was using the same energy source. They had to do the transformation to start with because the fold system disappeared, so they had to... it was a conduit for the circuit to the main guns, so they had to transform to complete the circuit so the main guns would fire in the first place. It was just... Nothing about the Zentradi kept the humans at bay for as long as they did. It was entirely other factors. But then when the Masters came along, they were firing everything they had and nothing was working. I always liked the design of the armed cruisers, the ARMDs. They're kind of stupid, but I like that they're kind of stupid, Not a big fan of the Lancers things that they send out, though. Like the little planes with, the... I don't know what to call it. That's appropriate for YouTube, but... I'm not a big fan of that design. Now, the other cruisers, I'm drawing a blank on them. There's another set of cruisers in this show. You only see them a couple times in the Macross Saga. I really like those ships, too. I wish we saw more of those. And then there's the Veritech, based off the F-14. Just like Top Gun. And then there's those ships that I can't explain what they are. But they're pretty cool. Roy imagining all the people he's about to kill. Because as Roboskullcast described, that's him and Claudia's relationship, is how many people he's killed. They are completely ignorant of space war tactics. That is true. Absolutely true. So, they mentioned Micronians here. They don't know that they're Micronians yet. That's what's funny. I love how in the show they're like, well, the Robotech Masters wouldn't have changed the ship that much. And the Earthlings don't know what don't have the technology to use to fix it. And then it's like, well, I guess it is what it is. It's essentially their explanation. And in the books, they're like, oh yeah, one of the leading scientists of the world got zapped and got an info dump in his brain. And that's how they managed to fix it up. Also, they have video, essentially video calling. And she's not noticing that he's not in a proper uniform. He's got an ascot for crying out loud. Nothing about his uniform says military. My first question is, if I'm the lieutenant commander, I'd be like, why aren't you in your proper uniform? Also, where's the actual pilot? Did he die? So, there's one complaint I have. Not enough dog fights. Like, it's, you know, it's 1980s. You know, it was much cheaper to reuse animation. Not that they don't reuse animation now with computers, but they can reuse animation a little bit differently because it's all, you know, essentially numbers, so they can make slight alterations. It's not as big of a deal. But, like, all the fights are the same. It's understandable. It doesn't take away from the show. It's just a little nitpick I have. I love watching the dogfight portion of it, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to show very much of that. There is a tracking shot, I think it's in the next episode, that I love, where it's just following different, you know, going through, and I love me a good tracking action shot. Bizarre flashback. This is, I've never understood this. And they reuse that often also. Man, it's good to watch Robotech again. It's been too long. So, is it this or is it in Phantasm or whatever it is? Okay, yeah, he pulled the right one. There is a, they reused that little clip of him pulling the lever down in another episode, and he goes, I'm gonna go to Guardian mode, and then he pulls the Battloid mode lever, and it's like, wrong one, buddy. But there it is, the first glimpse of the robot. His plane transformed. Anyway, and there we go. So, that's it. I mean, this is the ending narration, so you can do whatever you want. I'm just going to say, if you like this video, like and subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications for every new upload. And I will see you guys later.